Jesus, Andrew. Jesus.
What brought you to Hawaii in the first place? What was all this? Why did you go to the retreat, and why were you here?
Good question. So we're giving up on putting it on the sombrero?
Are you gonna put on the sombrero? Okay, bring the sombrero back up here.
For you? I feel like
I just like to get that really pristine audio.
Pristine.
Right now, I'm holding Andrew's cell phone and I'm putting it right up to people's mouths because I'm a sound guy. I like sound to be good.
And I'm being a terrible guest of my own podcast that I'm hosting because I'm eating pumpkin seeds.
Are you eating pumpkin seeds? I would love some pumpkin seeds.
Yeah. I'm so sorry to everyone at home.
Here's
I
it.
brought more. These are all the ones I own.
Can the audience hear?
I'm going to stop eating them now because they're very, very good and they're an excellent source of zinc.
Can I have the audience just listen for a second to me eat the pumpkin seeds?
Yeah, sure.
Here we go. This is the pumpkin seeds going into Crunchi's mouth. Here we go.
Okay, that's great. So Rory asked a very good question. I actually, it's funny that I actually have resistance answering it because I'm worried that I'm just going to fall into like automatic mode when I answer it because I do get asked a lot. But I want to be I'm going to like change the angle on it. I think I was destined to come to Hawaii. And it took me years to figure that out. I mean, when I was a teenager, I fell in love with Israel Kamakavio Ole and, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. That was this like double platinum song. But then I got into his music more. I got Facing Future and I was like so moved by the language. And I was like, wouldn't it be amazing to go there? And then I graduated with a design degree. And I did this travel around America for 5.5 months without a car. I used Craigslist to get rides. And I used Couchsurfing to find places to stay.
Wow.
And it was crazy.
You're roughing it, yeah.
I roughed it. I stayed at 70 people's homes or something like that. It was nuts. It was, that taught me about going with the flow. And in many ways, that trip in 2009 prepared me for coming to Hawaii.
Right.
So I started writing The Truth Beyond the Sky, which is my very first book, which is a tropical sci-fi book. And I wrote it in Wisconsin, but I was doing all this research on Hawaii, and I knew I wanted to get this book finished, but the whole time Hawaii was in the back of my mind. And then when the book was finally done, I did all this research of how to come here with a low financial investment, because I really wanted to embrace
Experience it.
I didn't want to just be here for a week like a ding dong. And I was really, really lucky that I didn't have any debt from college. I worked really hard to get scholarships and got a Pell Grant. And anyway, so I found out about work trade, which is a concept I'd never heard of before. I found out about intentional communities, of which aren't that many in Wisconsin where I was living. And I found out ic.org, which is a pretty good website that lists every intentional community on the planet. Or it tries to. And I was going deep, and I was looking at Hawaii, and I did all this research, and I messaged a few, and there was only one, which I will not name,
Andrew, why will you not name this?
Yeah, you read the book.
But tell the audience why.
Tell me why. Tell the audience why I don't name it. Can you have any ideas? Maybe a label?
I know why, but they don't know why.
Yeah, well, what do you think?
FIA.
No. Legal intelligence.
AKA FIA?
Legally enforced fear.
I mean, there's all different types of FIA, but they're all FIA.
The thing is, when you, it goes back to the consent thing, which you don't agree with, and that's your opinion, man. But when you...
Wait, what did you say?
It goes back to the opinion thing, the consent thing, which you don't agree with, but that's just your opinion, man. But the thing is...
It's crazy. If you have to ask someone for consent...
you share private stories? The thing is, I wanted to quote everybody. There was only like 2 people, and one of them was visiting briefly, that actually were psychically damaging people, which I think is amazing.
I don't mean like that. I mean for like sex and stuff.
There wasn't very much sexy stuff happening in the first book, sorry.
But if there was, would you have asked for consent?
Well, I actually wouldn't have to, because I give everybody in 10,000 Hours in Paradise pseudonyms.
But within it covers this expanse of time. You meet some women, hang out and so forth. Mm-hmm. one in particular I'm thinking of. But but you guys did kiss, didn't you?
You want to meet in the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ask consent?
To kiss?
Yeah.
Consent was given by body language.
There you go. You didn't ask for consent.
Here we go. A little different.
No, it's not at all different. It's
Right?
no.
Book with somebody in it, and then meeting somebody halfway for a kiss are different things, in my opinion. But I feel like we got off the track a little bit.
Wow.
Rory was asking me what brought me here. So the short version I usually tell people is adventure. But I turned out that I found one community that needed a computer guy, a web designer guy, and I came. And that's what the first book is about, is coming here and getting swept up in all these adventures, getting to do things locals don't usually get to do, because I just was really, really lucky. And I honestly think the island liked me for some reason. Like, I came in with a positive attitude, but I feel like I don't know why, but all these opportunities opened up to me. I also think I was in the right place at the right time in a lot of ways. There were people that were staying temporarily at the community who, like, freaking Canadians.
Always helpful.
Love Canadians.
Yeah.
They would let me carpool with them to places, and I would be the photographer or something.
Very accepting, loving people, Canadians.
Canadians are great. I do
Better
like.
than Americans in every way. And
Because they're all out and about.
I don't disagree with that.
and then my friend with the open marriage, she's Canadian.
Of course. The Canadians get it.
Such high level, yeah.
Americans, I just have including people I know quite well.
Yeah.
They've got their heads so far up their ass.
That's why
you can't even talk to them anymore.
I almost grew up in Canada.
I could sense that.
Northern Wisconsin. I just realized this just now, you guys.
Yeah, you have an inner Canadian, for sure.
Oh my God.
Dude, me too. 3 hours from the border. My sister went to McGill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty close.
I was in Canada quite often playing hockey.
Came from McGill, but she called herself Lil.
Close,
And everyone-
Laura. But
And everyone knew her as Nancy. Really?
is that a rhyme?
At all?
Oh, that's a rhyme.
It's in a song.
wow.
Someday you'll know what it means.
Oh. But anyways,
So-
were we talking about consent?
Rocky Raccoon. Were we?
Were we talking about consent?
No, we were talking about why I came here, because Rory asked me.
yeah.
Did I answer your question mostly?
I think so.
Yeah.
Where did we get to?
And then I was in, oh, here we go. Ready for the segue? The best dovetail ever. So then I stay at that community for about 5 months, and the Blue Book covers 5 months.
Okay.
And I sort of started to fall for somebody who ended up being emotionally unavailable, which you probably are entertained a bit by. But she was really sweet. She wanted to draw my hands. She was a pretty good artist.
And she's the one you slept on the beach with?
That
was the
Poiki.
second. Yeah.
Yeah, we slept at Poiki.
That was cute, huh? How cute was
very
that?
Cute. And she liked that movie Upstream Color.
And you kissed her, right?
Yeah,
And
that
you
was a nice night.
and you didn't ask for consent.
Yeah. I don't think that's it. Not verbally. There's other ways to ask for consent.
'cause
There's
people-
other ways to ask for consent besides using words.
You know what?
But you wouldn't know that.
I know that. I'm saying some women unconsciously don't wait, hold against a man for not asking, and then hold it against them. They actually, it might be unconscious, right? But then they say he victimized them because something happened, they kissed or whatever, and then
I've never been accused of that, by the way.
you haven't.
No.
I was only accused of it once.
Because I'm part Canadian, no.
Oh really?
Probably.
I had a girl ask me for a massage, and so I gave her a massage. I didn't learn until like a month later. She never told me. I don't blame her. I'm not angry about it. She was young, and I think a part of a young woman's life in this day and age is becoming a victim. And if you're a smart girl, you become like you do it smartly. You get victimized by someone who's not victimizing you, and by someone who would never victimize you. But you still get victimized.
Very odd way to.
I know, isn't it odd?
That's weird coming. That's. I'm gonna let you retain ownership of that thought because
It's like male bashing. It's the stuff that people don't actually talk about because you're not allowed to. The programming doesn't allow for it.
Interesting perspective. I'm guessing this person was under the age of 25.
She was.
Yeah, first mistake.
It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
There's a reason for
I
everything.
can't wait to be more like Rory. in 10 years.
That's true. That's true.
The people who are that young, I really don't think. My problem is crunchy bits.
No.
How old do I look?
No.
I don't want to make
but
this about
Andrew,
me,
Andrew,
but my problem is that I look 10 years younger than I am, and I attract people that I should not hang out with, in my opinion.
You're missing my whole point.
Rory, do you see where I'm coming from at all?
You're missing my whole point.
Who shouldn't you hang out with?
I should not be romantically involved with anybody under 25.
Oh my God, you're so. Right now, you're espousing a programming language of fear.
No, I'm not talking about fear. I'm not afraid. But
are.
it does not line up with what I want out of a relationship.
It doesn't matter what you want.
Does not line up with what I want. Yes, what matters, what I want, does matter because I'm the host of this.
No. I'm saying when it comes to these young women, it doesn't matter. It's like the.
Well, you have to decide. I mean, it depends on what they want too.
No,
you have to decide at what level you're going to meet them.
Doesn't. You can't meet them on any level.
Well, then I can't be their friend or anything. If
Yes,
I
you
can't
can. You can be their friend if you're smart.
Okay.
Here's what I'm trying to say.
I think you can write a book called The
can't
Crunchy
put-
Code, but
It's not
coded with a
age.
K.
You're making an age. You're making.
It is partly age because of
It's got-
brain development, because of science.
It's got zero to do with age.
Wiring is not done until
It's got zero to do with an age. I connect more with some 4-year-olds. I can connect with. It's got zero to do with age at all. But I understand why you think so. And I can explain why if you let me.
Okay.
Okay, it has zero to do with age. All it has to do with is social programming. Period.
So what programming they were exposed to that tells them what to expect at what stage?
There you go. A collective consciousness story for females in America. What to expect when you're getting victimized, when you're not, and you have to go through all these things in order to become a woman. Now I know people listening to this are like shrinking,
That's part of the hero's journey to becoming a woman.
not for everyone, but for a vast majority.
Victimization.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like there's a timeline on that?
It would be different for every single individual, but the story is the same. I'm saying the social narrative that's been set up, and that they
You're saying they go through that, and then can they let that go? Can they, when they become an
That's
actual
part of it.
woman?
That's part of it. It's part of the collective trauma base for the females is this narrative. And it's why male bashing exists. It's why Rory, who's a super good guy, gets beaten up for no real reason other than...
Can I play devil's advocate and potentially look like an idiot?
You can't, because what you're about to do is give an example that's not about yourself.
Okay.
If you gave an example from your own history, you wouldn't be able to tell me I'm wrong.
I was going to give you
Because we're good
example
people.
That seems logical, but
We're trying to generalize about like a evil male species that doesn't exist.
I was never talking about that.
But
I
the
don't-
inference would be, the generalization would be
No,
to...
I just think that people are reactionary, and people of both genders can be selfish and hurt each other.
This is
and
true,
make
but-
it about gender when it's not always about gender.
But you know what?
There's definitely things. That
The male, we get to give the male perspective too. That's the thing. We're told that we're from a patriarchy, so we can barely even speak because it's revenge time. But actually, we're not from a patriarchy. It's complete fabrication. Okay. On a existential level, we're all exactly the same. It's just we've all made up all these stories that we either believe or we don't believe, including the Bible. You know, it's like, do we believe this or how much do we buy it? Then when someone says, oh well, we have history on the side. Look at the history books. They say patriarchy exists. Look at these wars here, this change here, women suffered, blah, blah, blah. It's like, none of it's relevant.
You're saying, just so we're clear, I don't want to go too deep into this. I want to go to another area. But
Because it's uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable right now. Andrew is saying it's not fun. He's clasped his arms together.
I folded my arms because it's getting cold.
No, you're uncomfortable with the topic.
You're saying that women historically have not been regarded and treated like property.
Absolutely.
I disagree. I respectfully disagree.
None of it's true.
Okay.
None of it's true.
Just like your opinion. man.
It's a story. I'm not saying the story didn't happen, but the story happened. It wasn't true. It has no bearing on today at all.
Hey, give me a competing narrative then.
The competing narrating is where we are sitting here.
Women are pulling the strings when guys are not more than...
No, here's my competing narrative. Is there's 3 men right here sitting having a podcast, and we've never done jack shit to any woman that was bad. Zero. Am I wrong in that or not?
What about...
I'm not responsible for anything. Zero.
you haven't had. You're famous down here for not really having romantic relationships.
Well, I have romantic relationships. I'm famous for having romantic relationships. If you live down here a little more, you probably hear more. Gets me in trouble sometimes too. But Andrew, am I not right? Or Rory, tell me if you have a guilt complex I don't know about.
Rory, I think Rory might have a. I don't know, Rory. I mean, you said you made a mistake in your.
No, I'm saying I wasn't proud of some of the choices I made in getting out of my marriage. I think I could have handled it differently, but I don't feel that it was the only way I knew how at the time. So I'm not blaming myself anymore. It was the only thing that I was capable. I did for a long time.
You have to blame yourself. It's part of the narrative. It's part of the story he was involved with.
I'm just saying, like, I think that people, both genders, make mistakes, and
I don't believe in it. I don't believe it's true. I believe people only make mistakes when they try to control another person.
I agree with that. I think it's one of the big ways people make mistakes. Yeah.
If you're trying to control another person, you make a mistake. And it's like, okay, you have kids together, so now you want to head in separate directions.
And now you're not allowed to get out of it, or try and find love somewhere else, or. Yeah. And punishment. It's like you just got your license. You just got stopped in Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, the officers threatened to arrest him.
Yeah, they took my license.
Recently?
Yeah.
This is what happens. You have kids in America. You get threatened.
Why? Because child support wasn't being paid.
Oh wow.
You don't pay us money. You go to jail. You don't pay us money. We take away your identity. It's like, we're going to fuck you up if you don't keep that money going. Yeah. Are you kidding me? That's society we live in? That's how we treat fathers?
Well, they took all my money out of my accounts first, so I ended up going bankrupt. And then, obviously, I wouldn't have been able to afford my own apartment if I wasn't living with somebody cheaply.
They tortured you, drained you, and then when you ran, because they threatened to imprison you, they still want you to feel guilty about something. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. Guilty for what?
It's pretty intense.
Guilty for what?
Can I play devil's advocate here?
Play devil's advocate.
I'll play because I feel like this is sounding one-sided, and it's more interesting if there's more than one side, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's what we've been taught to believe. Fox News would always say,
Please do not. We can talk about anything except those guys.
well, I think we all laugh at Fox News because we all know it's made up.
And all we know is our truth, really.
But the thing is that we know though is
you an honorary Canadian.
But you nail it. But you nailed it right there. We know it's our truth.
Yeah. We
are secure in our truth. So if someone wants to add a second,
don't you feel like our truth can change though?
My truth changes every day, but I know, that's my story. But there's certain things I just know are true, And so you can offer a second side to the story. You can play devil's advocate, but you don't need to. But what were you going to say?
I think it's society being trying to punish someone for having an affair in a situation like that.
There you go.
But why?
Because society, I'm just articulating what society believes, not what I believe. Society believes that marriage is an exclusive sexual contract. That's why. And they feel that you're violating the contract. What's funny?
Who feels that? The judge?
Oh, yeah, I think it can.
Or the woman? The other woman?
Or both.
They feel what? They feel violated?
Maybe, but mostly just that the contract was breached, so they feel like they can do whatever they want.
What was breached?
A contract. A contract-driven relationship would never work.
A contract was breached.
Yeah, that's what.
And are we talking about people who love each other? Because it sounds more like a business arrangement.
Exactly. That's why you like pagan weddings, and I like pagan weddings too, because they're not legally binding contracts, and that's one of the reasons why I'm hesitant about traditional marriage, and I think maybe you are too.
Absolutely. I mean, who would want to sign anything but a heart contract for a marriage? Yeah. If you sign in a legal contract, that means the only reason ever to do that?
Insecurity.
Yeah. You're afraid.
Or you're not conscious. You're being pushed along by society and not really thinking about...
You're being pushed by your programming, yeah. That's why I got married 100%. It was like my parents, they expected it. I expected it of myself at that point.
I'm so glad I didn't get married.
So wrong thing to do. I mean, I wasn't totally in love with her, and then we were on her timeline, and then it was like, before any conversations happened, we had 2 kids. So it's like,
That's
you know,
fast.
things happen.
That's
Right.
fast.
So you have no conversation before you have 2 kids, and then you got 2 kids, and all of a sudden, like, shit goes down. And
I've
it's like,
never done
it's like
that.
punish who, take money from who, make the whole thing really fucked up.
And I'd never experienced divorce, so I had no clue what the parameters were. I thought maybe I'll give her a year and it would all be cleared over. We'd co-parent. I'd have the kids 50%. She'd have 50%.
Depends
Everything
how
would be good.
vindictive the person is and what kind of judge you get, unfortunately. From what I know, but
I just don't think the judges should be involved at all in any relationship. I think
Yeah.
if you want to go separate ways, that's
Yeah.
why is there any kind of contract at all?
It's kind of a bummer now. It's kind of
I
a
mean, that's what
bummer
happens.
conversation.
It's all over. It's all over America. It's all over the place. All these fathers
Maybe we
separated.
should start a movement, anti-marriage movement.
I have. I think I represent that. This goes back to why I think you should always be in love with 2 people. Never just fall in love with
all
one
right.
person.
All right. So how do you go about that? Like, okay, so let's say you're starting from square zero. It
Okay.
doesn't make sense. But
Okay.
but you're gonna be with one person first, sort of, unless you have 2 friendships. You know what I mean?
Oh, how do you get it started?
Yeah.
I think community, right? Or friendship, community.
Community helps.
And then you've got to know each other, I think, almost to the point where you're friends before you get into that
I think it helps.
relationship.
Hit the home button.
Oh, you're still going.
Still going.
Oh, it's got.
So yeah, I think there has to be some legwork done before, obviously, that relationship happens. Both people have to know. There has to be truths told. Everyone has to be cool with it, I think, right? Before there's more than one. But you can love more than one person and be in a relationship, and not even worry about it. Like tell anyone.
I have a totally off the wall thought about this. I don't know if we're ready for off the wall. Okay, I'm gonna try to. Okay, so I'm curious about your reasons for why you feel this is a good idea. I think we're very much on the same page about this.
Whoa.
But it's been interesting to not put boxes around that and not go, oh, this has to look like this, or we're definitely moving this direction.
Wow.
That's one of the most interesting things about being ethically non-monogamous, which is the label that most people use for this.
Non-monogamous, got you.
Right. As opposed to fake monogamy, which is what a lot of people practice.
Fake monogamy. It sounds funny.
Monogamy. My friend Steve wrote a great article about that years ago. But I guess one thing that's coming up for me, because I'm a straight guy, is, do you feel like in a way it keeps people... I think in monogamy, people don't always realize when the relationship changes and starts to slide downhill and people fall into patterns. I think that guys don't always... I'll speak for myself. Okay, you want me to speak from my truth?
Yeah.
So, like, I've experienced in the past, I'm not going to say what year, but I've experienced, like, the quality of the relationship slides, but, hey, I'm a guy and I'm having sex sort of, predictably. I'll go along with it. I'm doing my best. Maybe it'll get better. And I think a lot of guys, and you're a famous virgin, but I think a lot of guys can relate to, I don't know if Rory can relate to, like, this is like good enough to maybe holding on to it because you feel like you can make it better. Maybe we're in a lull, and that if that goes on too long, and then you're like, well, shit, what do I do? Especially if you're married.
Yeah, the key is not to get married, I think.
I agree with that. That's why I've never been married.
Or if you do get married, make sure you understand what a marriage actually is.
Yeah, it's about love, not a contract. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then if you understand what actually marriage is about, that's fine. And like, one-on-one, you get married one-on-one. I got no problem with that.
Even to this day?
I mean, if you want to, I mean, maybe there's other reasons I'm not thinking about. I don't have any good examples to share, but
Pretty risky.
And what does it do? Give you a tax incentive?
I guess tax incentives and stuff.
I mean, why
Seems
would they
to
reward
be.
you for...
That's the thing, though. Once money's involved, if you don't involve the money, you know what? If you're getting a state marriage, whatever the heck they call it, you're making a mistake.
Ultimately, yeah. They have too much control over you and over the relationship. Why would the state have a control over whether you're together or
Especially
not?
if you don't want kids. Like,
Yeah.
the kids thing makes... if you both, like, we're definitely having kids, or the woman's already pregnant, and there's like a insurance thing. Like it makes 5% more sense to me, but even that, it's like it's harrowing. It's harrowing in 2020 in this economy.
I don't know about that. I just don't think anyone should get married at any point when it comes to signing a contract. There's just no point in it.
So this kind of brings up the pagan wedding. And then do you feel like the pagan wedding, ideally you marry both at the same time?
Well, I might marry about 5.
I'm inspired by this.
But they can marry 5 too, right?
Yeah, they can marry 5 as well.
Good. Is that like a limit? Is like a pagan limit?
There's not going to be any limit. It'll be a natural, whatever's natural, the limit.
You're creating a polyfidelity thing, sort of.
Here's what I think I'm creating. I'm creating sophistication as not being illegal.
And variety.
Yeah, well, it's almost the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like why are we outlawing? Basically, we're outlawing because the people who can actually have a relationship with more than one person are just way more sophisticated than the people who can't.
As long as they're communicating and being conscious about it, yes.
They understand. They understand quintessentially. They understand.
Because there are some people who just want to sleep around and not really fulfill any emotional relationship with a person.
I don't actually think that's true. I think that character exists, but I think
I just said some people.
I don't think sex has to be involved at all, right?
Not necessarily.
It's just like
Hopefully, for God's sake, it will be for Crunchy.
I mean, trauma is making us do all different varieties of things. You can blame it for a whole bunch of stuff: world wars, genocides, holocausts, peanut butter.
Do you think you're a virgin because of trauma?
I'm a virgin because of trauma.
I think you are.
I could.
Oh my God. I love that question.
I think so. I certainly had an aversion. To becoming a non-virgin. I have an instinctive
An aversion to it.
aversion.
You're gonna be so. I don't want to derail you, but I honestly think you're gonna be a little let down.
I'm not gonna be let down.
Oh, he's never going to do it.
I'll never do it.
I think this lifetime's not going to be.
I'm going to be a shining example for people of why you should not have sex. You should not get married.
Is you're gonna be a fucking cult leader down here, and people are gonna follow you. You're gonna be the new Jesus.
I mean, if I'm lucky. I don't know if I'm that lucky. I don't know. Anyways.
I'll be your AV guy.
Oh, really?
Follow you around, with the camera. You're just
Really?
gonna give me a cut of the donations.
Really? That's it?
Yeah, 50%.
Okay, done.
He's not going to charge anything. It's all free.
Then some Indian guys gonna come and give you like a 60 billion baht, and it'll be like $10,000.
No, we don't accept Bitcoin.
You only said Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin before it crashes.
Yeah. Either way, we don't care. Crashes on. We just want it.
Can we raise funds through this podcast?
What?
Can we raise funds through the podcast?
Yeah. I mean, is there a
donation? What do you want to donate to?
We want to donate to ourselves, don't we?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
yes.
have a PayPal? I mean, I can keep track of donations, I guess. Any of this crap though, I'll have to pay taxes on probably.
I'll tell you right now. I'll spend every single dime on ice cream.
Oh, not
Yeah,
condoms.
vegan ice cream.
No.
Vegan ice cream.
Aw. Goes back to episode 1. That's the very first interview.
All the money will go into vegan ice cream.
Yeah. We'll
That's
get
okay.
a truckload of it.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
You know what I do?
Macadamia nut.
The Mac nut is.
The golden mac nut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's literally what I was thinking about.
Oh my God. Jesus.
I had
good
that.
one.
I got that from Abundant Life, and I was like, I can't believe I've never got a pint of this before, or whatever it is. I think it's a pint, because they put turmeric in it. That's why it's golden. It's really good. It's really smooth.
Do you know what I do? I go over to the Nikoko booth in Bahoa, and I tell them, I look at them,
Like a storefront.
a storefront, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in Hilo?
Both,
Is that called a storefront?
technically.
It's like, I call it like an ice cream shop.
It's facing toward the road.
Oh yeah, it's a storefront.
The little, what's it called?
The little ice cream booth.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Anyways,
First time retailer.
as I was saying, when I go there, there's sometimes Ashley's there. Sean, he's not there so much anymore.
He does the Hilo shop more.
Okay, and then Steve-O's there often now.
Steve-O.
And then Blue.
Yeah.
Blue just started working there. Not
The first name Blue?
Blue, yeah, you know Blue, right?
I think I do. I feel like I met her a couple times, but I can't picture her. I'm so sorry.
She's super beautiful, right?
She is hard to forget.
Okay.
But she's the
Can you describe her?
perfect person to be in that. Actually, she is just the most voluptuous young woman imaginable. Her name's Blue, and like
Hair color?
she's got like dark hair, and people go there and they talk to her because she's like an old soul. She's kind of like your grandmother.
Boy.
You know, but she's a grandmother who's cool. You can talk to about stuff.
That's how you get a pagan married to.
Oh, how?
You get pagan married to an old soul.
Oh, to an old soul?
That's what you do.
I can't ask Blue to marry me, unfortunately, because she's got a boyfriend. But I could ask both of them if they wanted to marry all of us.
Aww.
You want me to do that?
Sure, but they're gonna say no, probably.
I'll ask. She might think about it. She surprises me all the time. You know, you always think, oh, beautiful woman, she's gonna be like superficial or something. You know, she's the complete opposite.
Off into the back.
She's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
She's the only woman. I'll tell you this.
Is she humble?
I was just about to say, she is the only woman on the island in 3 years. Because of all I suffer from women, I suffer a lot.
Yeah.
I'm really judged harshly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like negative stories from spread by people who never even bothered to get to know me.
Over an hour of that I have yet to edit. That hasn't even been published yet.
Oh, really? Maybe mix it in with its stuff.
Well, we've got 4 hours here, I think, right?
We had 2.
Oh, 2?
Okay, 2?
Oh, yeah, 2.
Oh, 2 hours. God, if they're listening...
Personal question.
Yes.
What's your name?
What's my name? My birth name?
I'm sorry. I can't stop thinking about the first episode for some reason because it was so ridiculous. But okay. So, but if you have a pagan marriage, are there any specific agreements, like in terms of? Is there any what it's like the T.M. Scanlon book, What We Owe Each Other. What do you owe each other? What do you owe each other in that?
Yeah.
Is there a different thing there?
Oh, like do we write it down, you mean?
I don't know, like
Just
do
one
you
second.
Yeah, it's fine. Do you feel like you owe like do they cuz that's an intimate thing in a way. To be pagan married to somebody.
Oh, absolutely.
It's only a year and a day.
I mean, if we define it as such.
What are you going to do? Is it going to be a year and a day?
It's really you assemble everyone together and you all have to reach a collective agreement.
Okay.
And you talk about everything. You talk about, you talk about what the nature of, and it might be like it might be that like we're all marrying each other, but intimately wise, we're kind of squaring off. So I'm fine for it to go that way. But it's a marriage because it's identifying that it's sophisticated to understand that there's no way you ever go through life just loving one other person. And living that charade is ridiculous for the vast majority of people. And it's not a recipe for happiness. It's a recipe for sacrifice and for martyrdom and for feeling unhappy and for relabeling unhappiness as normalcy, you know, which is what most people do when they get married. You get stuck in a rut.
Well, yeah, by default you get in a routine.
And I think a lot of them are contract-driven relationships generally. Like I think people expect something from you, and they'll only give you something, and if they get something in return.
It's transactional.
Yeah, transactional.
Yeah,
Absolutely, and I think that's the wrong way to have a relationship. From what recent research that I've listened to.
Right. So we come up with a new way to have relationships, a new way to have marriages.
That's exciting.
It's not like a transactional relationship or a contractual relationship. It's going to be one of pure love where you give without expecting anything in return.
There it is. It's heart smart. It's very simple. It's like kindergartners.
Hashtag heart smart.
It should be almost presided over by kindergartners.
Oh man,
kindergartners
they could have like literal like authority over things sometimes.
They should be the ones marrying people.
This person was mean. They do not get a wall here anymore.
There you go. Yeah. Don't marry that person. Don't marry that mean
What have you
person.
been listening to, Rory? Out of curiosity.
What we listened to today?
Oh, we listened to so much today.
Alan Watts.
We had Muji.
Muji was great. He's a great
I don't know very much about
philosopher, spiritual guide. Yeah, he's awesome. He actually has one-on-one stuff with people, and he films it. So yeah, and it'll make you cry. Some of it. It's like very intense.
We listened to something from Krishnamurti today, which was pretty interesting. But it was going on and on for a while.
Oh yeah, he's slow. He's slow. I wrote some stuff down that he was saying, but I'll read that later.
that eye you drew.
And then that was all about what we see and what we don't see and things like
really
that.
cool.
But yeah, he was awesome to listen to. And who else? Who was talking about relationships though?
Well, Sad Guru. We listened to him for a little bit.
He's got a pretty good podcast now.
Sadhguru, yeah.
Yeah,
He's huge. And then who else was there?
You inspired me with this multiple.
I've inspired you again?
Thing. Yeah. That's why I come down here, because you guys inspire me.
Teal Swan.
Teal Swan.
Yeah, Teal
Don't
Swan.
you feel like she's a little bit...
No, I think that's because she's a woman. You're judging her for being a woman.
Whoa, really? You're going to accuse me of that? Okay, all right.
I'm just creating drama.
You are. I know, I see it to it. No, there's this good show called Ono, Ross, and Carrie, and they dive into cults.
Okay, so you think she's more of a cult?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
She's been accused of that, but I don't think so at all. I think she's telling truths that people don't want to hear, and they're taking it as occultism kind of
defensiveness.
Yeah,
it
comes from fear.
They had an interesting series on Scientology that's like amazing, 9-part series where they went deep into Scientology. I think hers is not really connected.
She
actually
talks about it openly about why people think she's a cult and what a cult actually is and the definition of a cult, and she reads it off right there, and absolutely people have the freedom to leave her group whenever they want. It's not a cult as in living in fear of being kicked out.
Can I clarify something? I was not accusing or insinuating that Teal Swan is a cult. I was more curious what your experience with the teachings has been, because I don't know very much.
Okay, yeah. I think she taught me a lot.
There have been some aspersions.
Yeah. She taught me a lot about when I was realizing what a relationship should be and how it's dysfunctional and it's okay to love somebody but not be compatible. And
God, that's huge.
Yeah, you can love them and need to get away from them.
Yeah.
And not be healthy. But you still have that. It's okay, and you love them, and because you love them, you're leaving them because you know it's never going to work out. So it's uncompatible. It's like there's no middle ground. There's no, So that's basically what she taught me, and she taught me a lot about just the whole journey. There's so much. I mean, she's got so many videos out there, but it's like there's a lot to learn through her about feelings and emotions and how to cope with anxiety, depression, all that stuff. I mean, she goes deep into it. I mean, she tried to kill herself. She has all her personal stuff out there.
Really?
It's open for interpretation, and she gets a lot of flack for that. But she relates everything back to her personal life, which leaves her open to criticism.
Right.
And
but in a way, makes her more durable against criticism because nothing can leak.
That's what I think. I think she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And you can tell in most people when they're lying and when there's a truth.
Yep.
I think.
So can I ask you a personal question in those lines?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ever going to get pagan married?
Yeah, I could do that. No problem. It's a year and a day.
Are you trying to? Are you wanting to manifest something like that with somebody who's?
I haven't really thought about it until Crunchy brought it up, but yeah.
Or are you kind of in like a lay off the romantic stuff for a while kind of space? Because I respect that 100%.
No, when I came here, it was definitely like, there's no way I'm getting in any more relationships. I'm going to be honest with them. I'm going to tell them where I am in myself about not being serious in a relationship. If they want to cuddle or get, intimate, that's fine. But I'm going to be honest and say I'm not looking for like any sort of serious, whatever that means. And but again, it's one of those things where I think when you become more aware, you can't undo it. So you're aware of situations and you're not going to make the same mistakes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Because you're aware of that. And I'm when I do get in any sort of, I'm giving myself space. I don't push. I don't want to push anything or have any expectation when it comes to a relationship. I'm just leaving myself open to whatever.
That's a big lesson I've been learning the whole year, is having realistic expectations of people.
I think expectations, you shouldn't have any, ultimately. It's hard, but yeah, I don't think expectations are healthy.
Well, okay, but like when there's a conversation going on, let's say like a lot of this happens in things like Messenger, where there's a bit of an expectation to where this person will probably read what I put, even just expectations like that,
And again, that's based on fear, I think. You're afraid that she might read something that might not.
No. More just like, let's say in the situation of me coming down to visit you guys, like I had expectation of, well, we've had good times before, right? Keeping it real here.
Yeah, right.
And I sort of have an expectation of they're gonna read this because they want to see me, not from a fear thing. Just like this is probably gonna read this expectation.
Or you have an expectation of what this is gonna be.
No, and it's an expectation that I will hear back from you. You know what I mean? Even something as simple as that. To me, expectations can be very, very simple.
I think there should be an expectation of communication.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad you can join me on that.
I have one. No, definitely.
I guess expectation in a relationship is different, maybe.
Because I was in a relationship, I won't say what year, that the communication expectation was a little hazy.
But if you really love someone, do you think that those expectations can change?
It's like asking for consent. It's like something that should just happen naturally if there's a person in front of you who's worth being in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
That they should create that level, that both people create that openness, that channel to be open.
Yeah, the sign that communication stops, the sign that this is the person isn't supposed to be in front of you.
Yeah.
So you should always expect it, because when it's not there, it's almost the best, because you know exactly why it's not. So there's no harm in it. But also, we came here and we've actually met some people who are woke.
Of course.